Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is pretty exciting. I'm super happy and excited to be here with you all. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Carol. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Kim. Nina or Nina, which I also have a sister called Nina. Welcome, everybody. Chantal, nice to see you. Lisa coming in. Great. Wonderful to see you all. This is very, very exciting. This is a webinar I have been wanting to do again for some time now. We started this webinar actually last year with my intuitive naturopathic sessions. I'm a naturopath and I'm an intuitive. I'm someone who reads people as part of my work. I work with natural healing and specifically food, plant medicine, really not trippy plant medicine, but I mean like herbs and vegan plant food. So I would love to hear from you a bit. Hi, Lisa, welcome. Yay. And I would love to know what's been happening with you around food and your health since lockdown. The whole lockdown story. How did it affect your health? How did it affect your food habits? If you'll pop it in the chat box for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. What's been happening for you in your health, your food choices, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your body? Now, I see already that we're mainly ladies. I just love that because I know how it is for us women. We are very much, if we don't feel good in our body, in our belly, then life can sometimes feel dismal. And that's not because we're particularly vain. That's because we are women and we are intended to feel beautiful, in my opinion. So I'm wondering how that's been for you, whether you're a lady, you're a man. Okay, Lisa says she's been able to exercise more and she's lost 10 pounds eating more vegetables and less sugar. Okay, great, thank you, Lisa. And Connie says actually eating even better after lack of travel, able to shop and cook more at home. Okay, great, thank you. Thank you. I know in general, alcohol sales have been up, porn has been up, and so a lot of people have experienced the opposite. So if you're just joining us, if you pop in the chat box and just tell us how has your health been affected and your food choices been during lockdown. Hi, Carol. And Carol says, it's actually been good for me as I find I'm eating better and making better choices around food and cook for myself more. Wow, okay. And Kim, and thank you for your email yesterday, Kim. Kim says, been eating more sugar and more carbs and more belly fat. However, this has been going on for a couple of years now, just a little worse during lockdown. Yeah, you're not alone. And thank you, Jean. She says she's been on a roller coaster and not sure what to eat with so much conflicting info out there. I am making better choices and doing okay, great. So in general, I sense that many of us are struggling and many of us are not really. Many of you are actually even doing better. So as a naturopath and someone who's been working with food as medicine for the past 20 years and being vegan myself for 27 years, what I see with many people, my weekly clients that I work with, is during this time of collective change, many of us are going through deep stripping away of our inner layers at the same time. Anybody? This is part of our sign language that we do. If you're part of the Alchemy of Breath community, this is what we do, is when you agree with something, you concur. If you'd like to do one of these, and feel free to leave your camera off or on, whatever feels natural. But if you put your camera on, it creates a bit more intimacy here in Cyberland. So this is what I see over and over again with my clients is, wow, the world's changing so much. We don't know what to expect. It all seems to have just gone completely crazy. But what I see is it's a mirror unto our very soul. And I see it as a huge opportunity to get down to what we all really want. Especially if you're here, I'm sure we share some similar values that we want unity. You know? We want to see people coming together. We want to see hope and healing, and we want to see goodwill and really making progress in our consciousness. Yes. How beautiful we know that it starts with each and every one of us having a more positive choice over what we can do. And we know what we can do is take care of ourselves. We know that we can choose to heal. We can choose to take the collective angst and face our own personal trauma. Is there anybody here who does not have trauma? Yeah, exactly. So I mainly work with groups, and Lisa is someone that has been here in our groups. She's actually one of our teachers, graduated from our teacher's training. Can you say hi to everyone, Lisa? Yeah. And in our retreats in Bali for the past 10 years, what we see again and again, I'll ask the group the same question. Does anybody here not have trauma? So we know that really it's the trauma. In my opinion, I'd like to know if you agree. If you could give me one of these if you agree, or one of these if you don't, whatever is fine. Would you say that it is our trauma, our personal to collective trauma, that is really the angst in the world right now? What do you think? Yeah. Yes. Yes. So thank you for being here, because what we do have control over is what we put in our mouth. And whether that is something you're struggling with, or something that is empowering for you or has been disempowering, I just want to thank you for being here. Because through our joint care and our joint willingness to potentially shift, to find the higher way, to excel, to grow, surely, especially as women, which is what it looks like we're mainly here, we can nurture ourselves and perhaps others into health. One of the reasons I'm so into health is not just because I want to feel good physically, but because I believe that our consciousness is dependent on our health. And if we want to be more physically healthy, more mentally, emotionally healthy, then we need to develop emotional intelligence. Are we familiar with this term, emotional intelligence and empathy? Yeah, sure, of course. Right. Could you give me an example and pop it in the chat box if you would? What's an example to you of emotional intelligence? What does it mean to you? So just catch everybody up on the chat box here. And Nicole, thank you for sharing. Nicole is a very long-time client of mine. Nicole, I didn't know you had corona. I'm just reading this in the chat box. She said, I was sick with corona 5 weeks and had injections to start menopause with immense side effects and have been putting on weight, so not so good health-wise. Nicole, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I'm glad you just booked an appointment with me though. Okay. So about the empathy. What does empathy mean to you? Chantel says, fulfilling our own needs, and Arul, connectivity with source. And Lisa says, thoughts that expand myself and my life. And Evangela, understanding where people are coming from beyond words. And Lisa says, communicating so that it serves the situation more than reacting out of pain. And Jamerali, sorry if I said that wrong, being fulfilled and nourished and nourishing. And Carol, being in connection with everything and everyone. Ah, beautiful. Let's take a big breath into that. Ah. And Rebecca says the desire to understand others as much as self. And Kim says, identifying my limiting beliefs. How beautiful. Our empathy and our emotional intelligence to nurture, to foster the health of this seed, to foster and grow it in the world, is what I feel the antidote to our personal conundrums and the world conundrum is to grow ourselves from empathy, from tenderness, from true care for our own self and for others. When I take a moment and I pause and I take another big breath, let's all take another big breath together. And I feel into the power of empathy, of emotional intelligence. I regain my hope for humanity. And it reminds me of why we are alive in this time. How many of you believe we are alive in this time for a reason? How many people believe that? Well, it must be true because we are alive in this time. So who wants to go a little bit deeper now and get into a deeper meaning behind empathy, emotional intelligence, connectivity? Yeah? Okay, great. Yes, beautiful. And welcome to everyone just coming in. We are talking about emotional intelligence here, empathy, our health, and how each of us carry a seed to foster more goodness in the world, more wholeness. And we all know where that begins. We know where true health begins. So again, thank you for being here and sharing in a joint value, really. So we're going to do a couple of things here as we're just getting started. The first thing we're going to do is just have a little quick rundown of what is food as medicine. What is food as medicine to you? What is it to you? If you want to pop it in the chat box, I'd love to know what you feel food as medicine is. And then I'm going to give you a kind of quick little science lesson of people I work with in our classes and our retreats in Bali. Okay, great. Atlia, I hope I said, is that right? Atlia, okay. Atlia, thank you. He says, I have no idea. And I want to praise our men for coming as well. And Kim says, eating healthfully that enables us to thrive. Okay, great. Vitamins and nutrients supporting our health, Evangelia. Okay. So Jamarili, nurturing both the body and soul. Yes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little more of a technical understanding, just in a short form, of food as medicine. And then we're going to break it down a bit into what you can do in your life that's practical, simple, to help give you a little bit of a jump start. Because when you leave here today, my wish is that you feel inspired to really take your food as medicine life to the next level, to really empower yourself. Because in my view, it's very important in these times that we focus on what we can do and that we take care of our bodies, our health, our soul, our mental, emotional, spiritual health, so that we can truly be a part of the proactive change that's happening on this planet. That's not happening to us, but is happening for us. And that we each nurture the potential that lies inside of us, and that we come together and we actively grow what we are capable of, because we can. And again, what an incredible time to be alive and say, I will do it. I'll do it. How about you? How about you? Will you do it? Both hands up? Oh yeah. Yeah, and the higher we can put that hand, the higher we can reach. And we've got double hands reaching up for what we're capable of. And if that at all seems far-fetched or far away for you, thank you for being here. Because my utter passion and my dedication, my commitment is to foster to you what I have found in myself, And that means a deep, nourished body, a mineralized body, a body and mind, a soul, a spirit that truly cares. So food as medicine, let's break it down a little bit. I want to pop this into the chat box for you. It's a little lesson we do in our Go Vegan program. I've been writing the Go Vegan program for the past few months and just released it. And this is one of the things that we work on. I'm just gonna pop this in the chat box for you. Yes. Okay, I call this BAAE. It's break down, assimilate, absorb, and eliminate. Lisa, you know this one well. So essentially, food as medicine, it's medicine or it's poison. Whatever we put into our bodies, it's the potential for either. And even though I'm a plant-based vegan person who encourages a plant-based diet, we could be eating a very healthy plant-based diet, but if our body can't break it down, break that food down, if it can't assimilate it so that it becomes a part of us, if our body isn't able to absorb it and then get rid of it, then it doesn't matter if it's a plant food or an animal food, we will still get congested. Yeah. And so we know where there's congestion and constipation, that will spill over into our blood and
Amy, you're on mute. We cannot hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, Evangelia. My connection just dropped for a second. Hi, Aubrey. Nice to see you. So I'm curious for you in your life, what is actually the food you're eating? Is it turning to medicine in your body? Or is it turning into poison in your body? And again, whether it's a plant food, an herb, is it an animal food? If your body can't B-A-A-E, if your body can't break it down, assimilate it, absorb, and eliminate it, then we are still going to be congested and clogged up. Yeah? So people say, oh, we just need to eat healthy. Well, we need to be able to poo healthy as well, because we know that our tissue is made up out of the food we eat. But if our body is too congested, then we're still going to be off-gassing. Food's going to be rotting in our intestines, and we're not going to be pooing. And remember, if you don't poo 3 times a day, then you're likely constipated. That 3rd poo of the day is what really makes a difference. So how are we going to get 3 poos in a day? Many people say, I'm happy if I poo every other day. And if that's a little bit too much information for you, then you'll get used to my style, because I believe in being very open and frank and sharing in our joint human experience. Yeah, we're all essentially going through some of the basic same things. Oh, actually, you say Tilly helps, huh? Wow, okay. What I would encourage you to do to up your bowel movement, to turn your food into medicine, is to make sure you're staying good and hydrated. And I don't mean with just good water, but in the food that you eat. Yeah? So that, remember, meat and dairy have 0 fiber, 0. So it's not moving and it's not offering your body hydration, which means that those types of food are sucking hydration out of your large intestine as it's trying to pass through. And this is why people often get congested and end up constipated. So what to do? Hydration in our food. Our food needs to have not only water in it, it also needs to have oxygen in it. This is also constituting what makes our food medicine. Oxygen, water, fiber, enzymes, a correct pH balance, and a bioelectrical current. Do you think that meat and dairy, how much do you think that they have of that? Not a lot. Not a lot. And our intention here is not any sort of like, you should do this or you should not do that. It's just about what you can break down, assimilate, absorb, and eliminate. Just really practical. You know, we all have our own ethical views, but that's not really what this is about. So how can you get more enzymes in your diet? Water, oxygen, fiber. You could start with juicing. What if you had one meal out of the day that's a big green salad, and then you don't eat past 7 at night? You could also begin with some intermittent fasting. So in the morning, you're drinking lots of herbal tea, juice, water. And by juice, I mean like fresh pressed, cold pressed juice. My goal each morning is to drink about 2-3 liters up until about 3 o'clock and let everything pass out from the day before. This is food as medicine. When is that really good food that you are eating turn to poison? When it sits in your bowel too long. When your body can't break it down. When your body can't get rid of it. Because then it's going to accumulate and it's going to go into storage. And we know what we call that. We call that excess fat. And it's just because the digestion is having a hard time breaking it down. So if you are at all having any sort of digestive issues, anybody here have digestive issues? Anybody? Yeah. So essentially what needs to happen in a nutshell, in a generalized nutshell, is that you need to get that all soluble in your bowel so that you can eliminate properly. So that the good food that you eat can assimilate, which means to integrate and to become a part of and absorb. Because remember, whether somebody is too heavy or too thin, they have the same issue, and that's malnourishment. And they're thinking like, why am I not losing weight, or why am I not gaining weight when I eat all of this good, healthy food? It's because it's not assimilating, absorbing, and eliminating properly. But once you bring in your macronutrients, your micronutrients in your whole food sources, a big green salad every day. If you eat animal products, becoming plant-based. You know the difference? Do you know the difference between plant-based and vegan? Who knows the difference between that? Anybody? They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. So plant-based is someone who is really reducing their animal intake, whereas a vegan doesn't eat any animal products at all. So if veganism is far away from you, or you feel like you'd like to just be eating more plants, that's a great place to start to increase your body's ability to be AAE, to break down, assimilate, absorb, eliminate. So that can mean, again, just a little overview. Okay, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to drink a lot of water, lemon water. And remember, that's no tap water. Okay, so good filtered water. Ideally, you'd have spring water if you lived near a spring. Yeah, that would be ideal. And then you make your cold pressed juice. Some good green juice. And if you put apple in it, apple has malic acid in it. Malic acid is a natural laxative. And that's really through the hydration and that natural laxative, your bowels are going to start moving. And then you don't eat until you're truly hungry. And then say around 2-3 o'clock, or maybe it's a bit earlier if your body's a bit demineralized, you have some digestive problems, your body probably is going to say, hey, I need food sooner. Okay, fine. But see how long you can go just on a daily basis without it. Then you have your big salad. And then I would encourage you not to eat past 7 and not to lean too heavy on the carbs. Yeah. So if you're eating, the white carbs, the white sugar, the white flour, the white bread, the white rice, white pasta, those are dirty burning carbs. That's not really food as medicine. Yeah. That's maybe we do that for fun or to play, or you go out to dinner to share. But to do that on a daily basis, your body will begin to accumulate. And where there's accumulation in our intestines, we're going to have difficulty. So let's hear from you a little bit now. Do pop in the chat box and let me know if you have some questions, or let me know what's going on with you. We can take a few questions now. And then what we're going to do from there is I want to share with you a kind of my special thing that I do, really, which is reading people. My number one skill as a naturopath is really working with you intuitively. I can already see a few people moving in their seats, like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, but I'm not too sure. Yes, well, it's good fun. It's good fun. How do I do it? Well, it's the same way that you do it. You just probably don't know that you do it. Since I was a child, intuition, working intuitively was just very natural for me, very easy. And I was fortunate to have a mother who understood me and helped me to develop in that way. So with your permission, what I'll do is a bit of a body soul reading. And if we have time, then I will work with a few of you. Yeah, and I'll guide you along as we go. But for now, let me know if you have any health questions, if we can just technically go into that. In my view, the body works holistically. So if I only talk with you about food as medicine technically and practically, that's a good start. But we would miss the whole equation of who you are and your beautiful soul, in what makes you tick. And I'm really interested in that for health. So we'll go more into that in the next section. And Evangelia says, I find that whenever I have turned into a vegan plant-based diet, I put on weight, eating more carbs, and that is putting me off from continuing with it. Yes, great question, Evangelia. So my first thought is what kind of carbs you're eating. Now remember, our bodies thrive on carbs. It's said that we need something like 60% of carbs as a macronutrient in our diet. Yet the form of that carb is very important. So if you're leaning on the grains, and this is one of the kind of, I want to say mistake, but that people make coming into a plant-based diet, is you're used to feeling more densely full on an animal-based diet. So then now at this point, we begin to eat a lot of grains. And if you lean heavy on the grains, they could make you blow up more. So what I would encourage you to do, Evangelia, is lean off those grains, and especially the white stuff. Again, back to the white pasta, white bread, and all of that, and lean more on the vegetables. We are hungry because we need nutrition, and the form of that nutrition in a water-based, soluble form that has high fiber, again, the high oxygen bioelectrical current, is going to digest way better than sticky white carbs. So lean off the carbs, Evangelia, would be my suggestion, and eat more vegetables. And the more you don't cook them, overcook them, and the more you eat like living greens and sprouts with avocado and olives, olive oil, your body will likely begin to thrive on it and allow you to shed weight instead of accumulate. When you're gaining weight, you're accumulating because your body isn't breaking it down and getting rid of it properly. Thank you. So Christina says, I eliminate really slowly. Greens help me process and eliminate, but they do not fill me or satisfy me. Yeah, okay, I understand. So this is where the green juice, Evangelia, for you as well, and for everyone here. Think about, when I go and buy my produce for the week, the cashier looks at me like I'm a little bit nuts, like, do you have like a really big family? Are you preparing for like 15 people? No, I'm buying massive produce every week for juicing. So the juice and again, with the malic acid in the apple, is really going to satiate hunger. It's going to give you a nutritional filling rather than a density and belly filling. And I'm talking filling, to fill you up with nutrition is what we're looking for here. If you're not used to eating more plants and you're not used to that type of feeling, it's just going to take you a little bit of time to kind of realize like, lightness feels good in my body, but what do I really want here? There's a kind of weaning period. It's a little bit of a detox, where your system is like, I'm used to, here's our old way. I'm used to dirty running carbs that give me a satiated, heavy feeling in my body that make me feel grounded. Here we feel a sense of like safety, of even belonging. It's actually triggering dopamine and serotonin in our brain that says that dopamine is the reward system that says, oh, that feels so good. Give me more. I like that. Has to do with sexuality and food. It's very biochemical. So when you begin to change your diet and you eat more plants and your system is getting a different kind of dopamine serotonin response, we need to get a little bit used to it. The juice is going to help satiate you, especially drinking enough of it, at least 1 liter a day, and encourage you to work up to it. I hope that's helpful, Christina. Connie says, is there a place for coffee, wine, and beer? Yeah, great question. Well, sure there is. Sure there is, okay? Technically speaking, know that many wine and beers have, they're not typically always vegan. They have little fish bladders in them that helps to give the texture of that type of liquid in beer especially. Is there a place for coffee? Okay, coffee, beer, wine. I call this the stimulant cycle. Okay, so Lisa, again, you know all about this. So we wake up in the morning and we're tired and we're actually probably a bit hungover from the day before. Hungry, irritable, crabby. Does anybody wake up like that in the morning until you have coffee? Does anybody wake? Okay, if you wake up that way, your body is craving nutrition because you have probably a food hangover from the day before. And until we get stimulated with coffee in the morning and then eat heavy stimulating foods, sugar and beer and wine, that sort of thing in the evening, we crave and we're irritable until we have it. Or life may not even seem like it's worth living. We're kind of draggy. So one of our goals in the way I go about things anyway is to kind of start to come down off these stimulants so they're not dictating your biochemistry. So they're not running your feel-good hormones, so that we can be happy with less, essentially. That we can feel connected to ourselves, to nature, to life, and have a sense of satisfaction from there, rather than hijacking our adrenal glands. Like, imagine putting jumper cables onto your adrenal glands every time we drink coffee, or let's say overindulge. Okay, I'm not talking about like a little bit here and there. I'm talking about the daily habit of addiction. You've got jumper cables on your adrenal glands, and if you don't have it, then your adrenal glands don't fire. And this is really where health is going to just plummet. It's going to go down. If you are limiting and you're enjoying it bit by bit here and there, but you don't have that feeling of, I have to have it or I'm going to bite someone's head off, then it doesn't control you. You control it. And in my view of health, that's my goal, is I want to be in healthy control of what I put into my body. Because as soon as my biochemistry starts getting run by, my thing would be like chocolate, okay? I want it to feel better. But then I know I'm not really the boss anymore, the substances. So bottom line, Christina, a little bit here and there. Yeah. Oh, I got a storyteller from the future here, Karen. Good to see you here. Atlia says, is there any recipe recommendation for freshly squeezed green juice? Sure, actually, I'm going to pop that in the chat box for you right here. What I suggest is this. Cucumbers are kind of like the water. Celery replaces your hydrochloric acid, which is really good for rebuilding your digestion. Very important. Apple. Okay, again, if you have any kind of sugar issues, put in green apples, but again, that's the malic acid. You could do parsley, which is really good for killing off parasites, bacteria in the body, and any type of green. Oh, and lemons. Okay, there you go. Lemons are really good for cleaning our blood, and that's a great example of food as medicine, a very important one, actually. Magdalena says, I'm vegan and trust my intuition on what I want to eat. Most of the times I can feel easily what is good for me, but there are times when I'm craving for sugar. I'm aware it's directly connected with my emotions, and I'm curious how food can assist with this in a healthy way. Great one. Okay. That's a very important one. So think about when you were growing up, and let's say something happened where you got upset. Okay. I'll give you an example. My mom and I would have an argument. Then pretty soon you'd smell brownies baking. Or she's feeling depressed. Pretty soon you smell the apple pie. And this is ongoing. Okay, so Magdalena, we know that we learn to associate feelings of connection, of intimacy, of belonging, of care with sugar. Okay, because sugar is one of the serotonin dopamine responses. And if you study dopamine, it's all about the reward system with food. And it says, I need it. I want it. And again, it's associated not only with food, but sexuality. And that's why we get so easily addicted to all of these things externally that feel good. And now I need that sugar to make me feel good, or I need this person or that thing. Yet in reality, what we're probably looking for is a deeper connection with ourself. And the more biochemically supported you are with macro micronutrients, with good, healthy food as medicine, and your bowels are moving properly, your blood is clean, the more this connection can be had. So here, see, we're not talking about a quick fix. This is not just slap a Band-Aid on it or pop a couple of pills and call me in the morning. No, what we're talking about here really, especially in these times, is taking deep responsibility for the state of our consciousness, for our thoughts, for our feelings. And if, Magdalena, you're at all feeling lonely in your life, and you're at all feeling the need for intimacy, perhaps if I can suggest, in just such a tender way, that if your deeper emotional need is acknowledged and met, you may crave sugar less. You know, so that's what I would encourage you to do, and everyone, if you could just take a moment right now and just ask yourself, what do you crave? What is it that, what is it? What do you crave? Now ask yourself if indeed, beyond just an enjoyment thing that you just do on occasion that doesn't control you, but if you have a trouble with this one thing, what is it giving you? It's giving you something that you need emotionally. And we don't love it because it's taking away from how we feel physically, and we're getting pudgy, or, we're not feeling good about our body. But there's a reason why you're doing it. And so instead of, going for the food thing itself and getting strict with yourself or self-punishment or whatever it is, in this type of process, what we're looking at is really going within and saying, what do I need? And what is that sugar, for instance, giving me? It's giving me a temporary feeling of connectivity, let's say, or intimacy, or belonging. And we begin to get our emotional needs met and start to figure ourselves out more so that we don't have to go for the food form of it. And here, true, deep healing happens. And for those of us who are really serious about this crisis going on in the planet, then, in my opinion anyway, the more we can go to this deep root level and work inwardly and work emotionally and use our food choices, then the food really becomes medicine. Because Magdalena, that sugar issue probably, it may not go away unless your deeper heart's desire is met as a human being and as a woman and who you are. And that's valid. And that place for it to have validation by you is to perhaps end a long lineage of suffering. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take just one more or two of these, and then let's go in. Let's go a little bit deeper, and let's go in and do some deeper intuitive work together. Okay, Karen is my storyteller from the future here. Okay, she says, I get bloated just before my time of the month. Any suggestions for food to balance out my hormones, lady? Okay, yes. So here what we're looking at is rebuilding our hydrochloric acid. Okay, and that's why the medical medium has gotten everybody into juicing celery. That is because it rebuilds what's called hydrochloric acid. Okay, and I'm going to put that into the chat box for you. I would encourage you to find a good, hopefully plant source. You may not be able to find plant source, but another really good company is called Innate. That's in the US, but if you're in Europe, they could probably deliver to you. Innate or Premier Labs. Okay, these are really integral companies. Hydrochloric acid is going to help rebuild your gut microbiota, which is your healthy flora. Okay, and this is why you'll see many doctors talking about the virus and all of that, saying, over sanitizing is a big problem. We actually need to be exchanging our microbiota and our microbiome so that we are building immunity. And we know they say, oh, well, the virus gets killed in your gut. That is true if you have enough hydrochloric acid, HCl. Okay, so what does that have to do with your question, Karen? What that means is that for us as women, when our time of the month comes and we're about to bleed, your body is pulling on all of its nutritional resources. It's pulling on you hormonally. It's an extremely demanding time of the month for us nutritionally. So our bodies need to be nutritionally supported with proper fats. Okay, fats are a really good one. Build your hydrochloric acid. And then another big one is stress. All right, if you're coming around to that time of month and you're feeling anxious, stressed out, your body's demineralized, you don't have proper fats running in your body, your hormones, and we get really edgy. So forgive us, men, but this is when we're just, yeah. So a lot of this is back to you being nutritionally supported, Karen, and building your hydrochloric acid. That'll be my suggestion. Okay, so we'll do one more, and then we're going to move on into our deeper work here. And Chantel says, do you mix fruits and vegetables or eat them apart? Great question. I read it's best not to eat them together because fruits are digested more quickly than veggies. Excellent, Chantel, good for you. That's called proper food combining. Okay, so what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is to download a food combining chart. Actually, I tell you what, as a little gift, I will send you my food combining chart. Okay, that's what I will do. In our new Go Vegan program, I've created a food combining chart, and we do an entire lesson on this. But what food combining means in essence is that you're not mixing fast moving foods like fruit with slow moving foods. Now, if you really want to work with food as medicine, this is one really, really important principle. It takes a little bit of discipline at first, okay, because we like that, let's say, trail mix, okay, raisins and dried fruit with nuts and seeds. It tastes really good, right? Or think about that strawberry cheesecake with that nut base, or an animal-based recipe. Wicked combination for your digestion. Remember, in a nutshell, when you improperly food combine, what's going to happen is that fast-moving food is going to be moving very quickly, and it's going to get stuck behind the slow-moving food. So what happens there is that food begins to rot, and then it begins to ferment and off gas. It's not natural that we should be having gas all the time, that we're burping and farting. We're burping and farting because our digestion isn't working properly. Okay, it's because primarily we are improperly food combining. So just to keep it really, really simple, eat fruit alone. Your fruits alone, melon alone, your vegetables, your fats, eat them alone, and your digestion is going to work a lot better. And what this equates to is you pooing better. And remember, 3 times a day is our ultimate goal. And if you properly food combine, it's going to help you big time. Okay, so I want to give you guys a choice. Actually, we have a couple more really interesting questions here. We could stay on this track, or do you want to go into deeper intuitive work? What do you want to do? Pop it in the chat box for me, would you? You want to go intuitive? You want to do some readings here, or do you want to stay on this track and do some more health related stuff? Ooh, everybody wants to do intuition. Ooh. Okay, that's great. I love it. Okay. All right, so let's Q&A. Okay, great. I love it when you give me feedback like that as well, because I know how to guide these. So thank you for your participation and feedback. Okay, so what we're going to do is just a really quick little minute meditation here, and we're going to drop in a little bit deeper, and then I'm going to ask someone to come forward. It could be anyone. What this takes to come forward is you just feeling brave and being willing to share. Really, in essence, it's your willingness to be seen, felt, and heard on a very deep level. Okay, that's all it takes. So let's drop in. Let's take a big breath together. Two more breaths. So much thanks we give to come together here, to come together. So much thanks we give to bring in higher information. We ask for guidance here, protection. And for the people that we can address, we pray that it blends and affects everyone and contributes to everyone's highest good here. So much thanks we give. Okay, so now let us begin. So the first person that raises your hand, we're going to go with. Okay, Magdalena. Okay, so here now what we do in this process is you have about a minute to speak and just share what you would like to share. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for your permission to look deeper in your system. I'm going to scan your system within, and then we're going to start to download what's going on with you. Go ahead.
Okay, so hello to everybody, and thank you, Amy, for this opportunity. It's very, very important for me. I feel like in some ways I am not hearing what my body is telling me. I'm not recognizing the signs, and also I feel like there are times where I'm not, I want to do it, but I'm at the same time ignoring it. So what I need and what I feel I need is some guidance. So,
Okay. Thank you. It's very brave of you to speak. Thank you. Can I listen to your whole system for a moment? Yeah. Okay. Magdalena, what it feels like is that you have some like hidden abilities that you're not fully aware of, and your system feels like it's attempting to reach you by saying, hey, you have some unusual capacity here, unusual ability. And if you're to embrace who you are rather than any kind of comparison. So if you find yourself comparing yourself to others, what it feels like is that you're missing your own unique abilities. And so in essence, just in a real distilled nutshell, what it feels like, and it's interesting that you're the person that came here because you asked about sugar earlier, okay? What it feels like is that I see a flower in your chest, and when you feel acknowledged, like right now, I can feel your whole system blossoming. Your whole system is reaching out like like little tentacles of vines receiving water and sun. Yes, how beautiful. And for you to be enriched in this way, and this is for everyone here, by the way. Magdalena is just brave enough to show us what we all need, okay? For that flower to be watered in your chest is for you to know your own goodness. It's for you to know some very unique, special gifts that you have. But there's a few prerequisites here. And again, this is for everybody. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop looking outside of yourself for what you already know. And start investigating the oddness of you. And I mean that in a very complimentary way. To investigate what your system is telling you. And it's interesting you started off by saying, I'm not listening to my body. Because what you said there was actually answering your own question. Okay? And one little last thing here is your need, what it feels like, okay, tell me if this is true, what it feels like is your need for intimacy is extremely deep. You're a tactile, affectionate, loving person. And because of that, if you have a tendency to look for it outside, and if you're looking for it outside, you might miss the effervescent well that's bubbling like a big water fountain inside of you. Remember, a water fountain, it's effervescent and it bubbles because it recycles. It's actually self-generating, and it's spewing out because it's feeding itself. So encourage you in your meditation to see yourself regenerating all of this yummy scrumptiousness of you, and to let it regenerate and feed you from within and let it come out. And that will attract to you the deeper intimacy that you might be looking for, let's say in a man even.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very, 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 well, not appropriate, it's not the word, but I feel with all my body while you were speaking this, that this is exactly what is happening with me. It's just, I started to be aware that I need to go inward, and I started to do it. It's just, I'm just like in the middle of way. So I still have some times when I'm looking outside and I'm hearing these comparisons, and I'm just, so it was very important for me, what you told me.
Here's it is for you, and this is for everybody, okay? Feed on your own fountain. Feed on your own fountain. If you can make that your mantra, I am feeding on my own fountain. I'm feeding on my own fountain. And allow that to come in. Let's take a moment, take one moment, everyone, and feel your own fountain, your effervescent, bubbling fountain, generating life, love, goodness, sensuality, your own exquisiteness. And it's going up like a geyser, and it's going out and it's feeding everyone around you, the whole world, the whole earth, healing the whole world. And it comes back in, it collects at the base in a pool, it comes right back up your feet, and it feeds your whole system. You are feeding on your own fountain. May that nourish you, Magdalena, so that you can be like honey to a bee, like a magnet attracting all the scrumptiousness based on just you, just because you're you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, we have time for one more person. Okay. Okay. Atelier, actually, he had his hand up before, so we'll go to you, Atelier. And please forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong.
Thank you. My name is Attila.
Attila.
Yes. In terms of inner work, I'm doing inner work and breath work with Anthony. So I'm in facilitator program. For food, I do some of what you were saying.
Sorry, yeah. Atelier, I'm going to cut you off 1 second because what I'm going to ask you to do is to drop into you.
Yeah.
And what do you really need right now? What do you really need right now?
What I really need right now is to go deeper myself and then find out my feelings and express it.
Thank you. Well said. Can I scan your system for a moment? Would that be okay?
Please.
Okay. So, Attilio, I get a picture of you in like a metal suit from head to toe, and you are taking a big zipper and you are unzipping it. And everybody, I want to encourage you to do this along with me now. Take that big zipper, that big metal zipper, and step out from that metal suit and feel the connectivity and the conductivity that happens when you allow yourself just to be you. Atelier, tell me if this is true. My system, your system is telling me that, did you grow up in a very like rigid household where you had to, where children are better seen and not heard, where you had to like, kind of keep it in line and keep things together, and you didn't have a lot of self-expression as a child?
Yeah, our family culture is kind of keep everything inside the family and not to share it. So actually, further than that, it's not to see the elephant in the middle.
I get it. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else experience that? Anybody else? Yeah. There's some other people have that as well. So, Atalia, what it feels like is you're also a very curious child, and your tendency towards like a really healthy, curious naughtiness is kind of like your saving grace. It feels like your ability to look outside of your immediate surroundings and perceive that there's something else going on is the key to the lock of feeling door. It's as if you're in what I sense is that you're in an in-between place where your deeper self wants to unlock and step out of that metal suit so that you can feel to the degree that you are capable of. And the key to that is trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. Careful of learning more techniques or following more instructions, because what it feels like is following more instructions and technique is taking you away from you. It's taking you away from that curiosity and wonder of your inner child. And how beautiful that you're doing Alchemy of Breath. If you all don't know, Alchemy of Breath is actually my husband's breathwork company. I'm going to put this in the chat box for you. Alchemy of Breath, and it's on Sundays. They have a free breathwork session. And so what Atalia is going into, and what Nicole has been in, and Lisa and Evangelia, there's many of you probably that have been with Anthony. It helps you to really, for you, Christina, as well, and Chantal, it really helps you to break down some of those inner barriers that we were raised with, and what it feels like, Atalia, you are breaking out of. But remember, the key here is trusting your own insights, following your own inner instruction, and using the template that you learn in studies or in a program or whatever as guidelines, but may they not replace your own inner informant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You just expressed my feelings. You're absolutely right. I'm at the point that learning so many things is nothing for me. It's the best thing is go inside and then find my authentic self and then go towards it, and this helps a lot. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. So that's for everybody here. What I want to ask everyone is, how is your deeper self asking you to self-trust and to find out that it's probably really safe in your own body. To find that out for ourselves is to trust our own inner informant. So my last question for everyone here is, how is your inner informant informing you? And that inner informant we know is our intuition. It's our gut instinct. It's our healthy microbiota in our gut communicating to our brain, is what it is technically speaking. We call that gut instinct, but it's actually quite technical as well. So I encourage you, everyone, to trust that place. Trust yourself. If you want to go deeper with this type of work and you want to really break down food as medicine, in my approach, food as medicine is meant to spawn and to really heal us so we can do our greater work in the world. It's not about veganism for me or the plants at all. It's about what it gives us. Yet, if you're not sure how to do that, or how to go about it, I want to share with you here a link for my new Go Vegan program, and join us in Go Vegan. It's a way for you to approach eating plants and coming into food as medicine in a holistic way, where you see we do the science stuff and we do all of that. But if we didn't take into account what makes you tick and who you are, then we might miss the huge part of the equation. So let's see here if I do have a link for you. And would you like to do this again? Shall we continue? I'm thinking of doing these every week. What do you think? If you think we should continue this, would you pop it into the chat box and just give me a yay or nay, either way. What do you think? Okay. Yes, okay. Great. Okay, well, I tell you what, let's continue then. And we will do this again next Thursday, same time, same place, and you'll be hearing from our Go Vegan team. And I would love to hear more from you. I also do private sessions if you want to go into deeper work in your own system. Feel free to reach out and you can schedule an intuitive reading with me. And remember, there are many, many ways to heal our bodies. What intrigues you the most? What intrigues you the most, captures your curiosity, makes you feel alive, is what you probably will do. We can badger ourselves with thinking that there's all sorts of things that we should do, but then there's actually what we will do. And where you are seen and heard and your heart and soul is nourished is typically what we'll stick with. So I encourage you to check out Go Vegan and to know that, like in my own experience, this is for me personally how I've healed my body. In my 20s, I had 3 ectopic pregnancies and almost died twice from them. And from getting into veganism and getting into the food, that's how I really healed my body. And along the way, wow, this other thing started happening where I started to feel myself more. And as I felt me, I realized I could feel others. And over time, I realized, wow, I have a skill for feeling people. And it makes me exquisitely happy. You know what that feels like, right? When you feel like you can sense and feel someone to their deepest core. And you can do it really quickly. Do you have that feeling of satisfaction? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is what I mean by emotional intelligence, to kind of bring it full circle, and empathy. Because we know with empathy and emotional intelligence, because we are fully nurtured, nourished, vitamins, minerals, hormones supported, that suffering becomes more optional. And our purpose of why we're alive in these times, we are all here together right now on this planet for a reason. Otherwise, we wouldn't be alive. To claim this place, to claim why we are here, to fully go for it, is to be nourished not only in vitamins and minerals, but in your heart and soul, and who you are as a human being. So I want to encourage you, whatever path you choose, to get yourself properly nourished on a biochemical level with good old minerals and vitamins and whole foods. But if you don't take care of your spiritual, emotional well-being, your soul, it might be one-dimensional. So I encourage you to really nourish yourself on all levels, and know that I'm here to help you with that, and that these meetings are intended to do that. And remember how much your participation is really helpful. So when you tell me like, less Q&A and more intuitive work, we'll do that. Okay? So know that we are a community here. We're a burgeoning community, and your input helps to shape it. Thank you, everybody. Mwah. Much love. We'll be sending this recording out on email as well. Feel free to share it with your friends, and feel free to reach out to me. And Amy, Zoe, sorry, we're just finishing now. Sorry to miss you. But lots of love, everybody, and hope to see you again next Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Zoe.
It's so good to see you and hear you, feel you.
Aw, love you, Aubrey.
Hi, sorry I missed it. Damn it. I'll get
Yeah,
the
come next Thursday. Lots of love, everybody.